Our top focus as of now remains the India-US 2+2 dialogue. Now, apart from the subject of Ukraine, bolstering security and democracy in Asia-Pacific region was also part of the dialogue between the Indian foreign and defense ministers and their US counterparts. Indian and US officials discuss ways to ensure a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. The US is currently forging an alliance of countries seeking to push back against China's assertiveness in the region, and India is seen as a critical counterweight to the growing Chinese power in the region. At the ministerial meeting, the US Secretary of Defense said that the defense cooperation between India and the US is important to keep China in check. Austin pointed his remarks about China's attempts to challenge and undermine the sovereignty of its neighbors. He also added that the US will continue to stand alongside India, while India defends its sovereign interest.
We all understand the challenges that we face in the Indo-Pacific. The People's Republic of China is seeking to refashion the region and the international system more broadly in ways that serve its authoritarian interests. But as we operationalize our defense agreements and take our cooperation to the next level, I believe that we can sustain and strengthen a favorable balance of power in the region. Across the region, the People's Republic of China is attempting to challenge and undermine the sovereignty of its neighbors. Beijing is eroding the security of the Indo-Pacific region, from its construction of dual-use infrastructure along your border to its unlawful claims in the South China Sea. And we will continue to stand alongside you as you defend your sovereign interests.
The Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh did not directly comment on China or Russia. However, he stated that both the countries share the common vision of a free, open and inclusive rule-based order.
सारे विषयों पर कन्वर्ज करते हैं। भारत और यूएस दोनों एक फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और रूल्स बेस्ड ऑर्डर कॉमन विजन को शेयर करते हैं। हमारी पार्टनरशिप इंडो पैसिफिक और इंडिया ओशन रीजन में शांति, स्थिरता और प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए काफी महत्वपूर्ण है।
For more insights on this matter, we are now being joined by international affairs expert and fellow at the Australia-India Institute, Kadira Pethiagora. Kadira, thanks so much for joining us on WION yet again. Now, another focus of the 2+2 dialogue, of course, is keeping China in check. The US Defense Secretary commented on China's aggressiveness, assertiveness in the region, and the significance of a US and India defense cooperation. Tell us more about this.
Yes, well, I think that really highlights the most important aspect to the United States of its relationship with India, which is being able to seek to balance the power of China in Asia. And I think that's really why we've seen throughout the years that the United States takes a very deferential role to India, at least since the Indo-US nuclear deal, where when India has trade deals with countries like Iran, the United States has been quite gentle in its response to India. We've only seen that change in recent months, where it took a more a more full-throated approach to India's relationship with Russia. But even that, we've seen Blinken today in these 2+2 talks trying to sort of walk that back a little bit and being quite respectful towards India and acknowledging that India has a long relationship with Russia. And the reason for that is because of China. And China really is the factor that brings India and the United States together in terms of strategic cooperation.
Right, absolutely. Now, Kadira, let's talk about President Biden's statement. He told India's Prime Minister Modi that it is not in India's interest to increase Russian energy imports. Is this essentially a pressure tactic to keep India as its own ally in the Russia-Ukraine war? India so far has walked quite a tightrope. It's maintained a balancing act, so to speak, between Russia and the West.
Yes, it has maintained a balancing act, and this is a tradition in Indian foreign policy. So I don't think President Biden saying that is going to change anything. India knows what its interests are, It's firmly worked towards its interests in the long term, and it's not going to be swayed either way. And I think that the approach that India takes, even when it comes to things like defense cooperation, it's not simply buying defense materials from Russia, or for that matter, energy and supplies from Russia, simply because it's the cheapest price. It buys its energy from Russia or from the US. It buys its weapons from Russia or from the US, taking into mind the entire strategic situation. So India's approach really is to optimally balance the power differentials between the US, Russia, and China in a way that supports India's rise. And so all these economic transactions, they all have they all take place within a bigger strategic framework and plan that India has.
Absolutely. Thanks for putting that into perspective for us. Kadira, thanks for joining us on WION World is One. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.